guys, so what's up with this? What's up with this thing that a lot of aspiring rock and rollers, a lot of aspiring hip-hop stars, apparently a lot of these guys didn't come from the life that they want to portray. And that's one of the issues that I had with this particular interview. And I've put out so many comments on this guy that he was A, a fake, and B, he came off like such a douchebag to me that I had to post all those comments that I posted. First of all, it seems to me that this guy wants you to know about his struggles. And when I say struggles, it's kind of quote unquote struggle light, because it's not good enough for a musician to want to just put their love of music, their love of the artistry that they have out there. They need to portray a certain image of either the rock star lifestyle or the hip-hop lifestyle if they're a hip-hop artist. It's just one big marketing lie. All right? Now, I didn't go and look up this guy's talents, his music, etc., etc. But from what I've seen in the video, he seemed to have been able to make some kind of mark in the industry, which is very, very, very difficult to do. All right, he name drops a lot of people. He name drops a lot of producers who were interested in him, and these producers worked with very, very famous people, etc., etc. It seemed to me that if you have that kind of opportunity, why is it that you would go out of your way to try to portray? Because it seems like he's a braggart of that rock and roll look.
The grateful to still be here.
It's a rock and roll lifestyle. You know, drugs is bad, but we're gonna do it because it's badass. You know, you romanticize something that you're telling people not to do. All right, you had a gig in a really big venue, and yet, you know, you didn't take a shower for 5 days. Somebody complained that you guys smelled bad. So, you know, they asked you to take a shower and you refused to take a shower, so you got kicked out of that venue or whatever. You know, stuff like that. That's like, oh, that's so rock and roll. No, it's not so rock and roll, bro. All right, you had a chance that very few people had to make it in the industry, and you chose not to. Go and take a shower, bro. Go and take a shower. Stop trying to live that rock and roll lifestyle so that you could have stories to tell if you ever get famous. This is what this dude is about. If you ever got famous. And somebody else did say that this guy was dating Paris Jackson, or was engaged to Paris Jackson. So he was pretty much hobnobbing with a lot of famous people. He was probably hobnobbing with at least one famous person, but probably with a lot of famous people. He had connections in the industry. Chances of him just getting found out in the streets by some producer is very, very, very rare. There's a good chance he probably came from a well-to-do family. Now, this is just my assumption, but a lot of these guys who say they lived in their cars, etc., etc., they lived that rock and roll lifestyle where they live poor, and etc., etc., had to scrounge around for food, and then some producer popped up and they get a Cinderella story where they, out of nowhere, get famous, but still are able to live a rock and roll lifestyle where they can say, you know, F it, I'm not going to take a shower just so you guys can, just so we can get paid, so that we can have, you know, a future in the industry where we could just get some kind of advancement from this venue. It's just, to me, that whole storyline that it's not that storyline. It's this whole entire story that he tells where he tries to tell you how much of a struggle he had. He didn't have, as far as I could tell from hearing his stories, he didn't have that much of a struggle. He didn't go into how his stepdad abused him. I mean, it was just generalized. I mean, what did your stepdad tell you? To do your homework and to get good grades? There was nothing that was embellished on it, but he still goes back to constantly tell you how his childhood affected his drug use. Stop making that your excuse. You seem to be one of those people in the industry who loves to romanticize drug use, yet tell people don't do as I do. It's a bad thing, but then you kind of brag about it in your own way. I noticed that Kelly Osbourne has done that. She's constantly telling people, oh, my father's drug use, he had a drug problem, etc., etc. But yet she herself wants to have that romanticized rock and roll, I'm a rebel lifestyle. You know, I also went through that struggle, you know, so she herself took drugs knowing what it did to her dad, etc., etc. And then she gets the sympathy from. This is what these people want. All right. They want the sympathy for their BS fake struggle life. It's just garbage. All right. This guy needs to take a shower, get a job, stop doing these stupid interviews. All right. And if you had any talent at all, just work on your talent, man. Forget about that whole garbage rock and roll lifestyle that you're trying to live. Looking at him, you know, it also seems that he wants you to know that he's a rebellious rock and roll guy. You're 27. You know, you're about to be 28. You're going to get past that age where you actually won't be able to do anything with your talent. Well, kinda. But, you know, if you were talented, you probably could just run on that talent alone. So why don't you just run on that talent alone instead of putting out these stories, trying to get sympathy, trying to, you know, throw out that image that you are a rock and roller, that you actually live that life of the rock and roll junkie. Apparently that's a whole romanticized thing. Kind of like how, like that whole gangster, quote unquote, gangster personality is a romanticized thing with hip hop. All right. You gotta, if you had any talent at all, okay, just go on your talent. Just go on your talent. Very few people have the opportunities that you had. Very few people have the talent that you possibly have with playing an instrument well, or writing a really good song. And fewer people have the access that you had to actually be able to maybe showcase your talent to somebody who had any amount of power to push you into the mainstream. However, this guy just pretty much just gave it all up. And not only did he give it all up, but with everything that he says in the interview, the way he says it, it just seems like he's kind of wearing it as a badge of honor. Bro, if you live past 27 years old and you're saying I'm proud of myself for living past 27 years old, living past 27 years old is not a badge of honor, bro. Most people do that. Everybody do that. I understand the whole 27 years old with these musicians, like all these famous musicians who actually made it into the limelight, and they end up killing themselves before they were 27. You gotta stop romanticizing that garbage, okay? He says it like it's a badge of honor. Stop romanticizing that garbage, all right? 99.999% of people live past 27. You don't have cancer, you don't have AIDS, you don't have some incurable disease, you don't have any of that stuff. Stop trying to romanticize your rock star lifestyle with your drug use, etc., etc. Go get a job. go take a shower and work on your career without that whole rock and roll garbage, okay? Nobody cares that one of your member looks like Angus, the other dude looks like Duff from Guns N' Roses, the other dude looks like, oh, you know, whoever, and you want to tell people that you kind of remind people of a young Axl Rose or Kurt Cobain. Bro, just do your own thing, all right? Every time you name drop that stuff, it just makes you look so douchey. And every single person who commented on my comments telling me how I'm an idiot, I'm a troll for putting all these comments out about you, F them, all right? Enough of the sympathy thing for these people, especially guys, people like this who actually had a shot at something big and then threw it away. That's on you, bro. That's on you. And the fact that you didn't want to take a shower because of it, come on.